survive for 30 seconds. But there's no way to actually declare victory. The only feedback tools you have to communicate with the player are firework dispensers and noisemakers. The result is that any levels you make end in an anticlimax. You finish the race, or you punch the last bad guy, some fireworks flare, and you're left alone standing on a now conquered stage with nothing else left to offer, wondering, is this it? Am I done? Can I go? And it's made all the more frustrating because the so-called adventures Avalanche offers each character are made with the same rules and the same assets, but done in a way that lets them declare a victory condition. They're cute little challenges, and you can make 90% of what they do in the toy box, but you can't actually make a level that ends in victory the way they do. You can set up a paintball arena that spawns bad guys and keeps track of the number of bad guys you've hit, but they can set up a paintball arena that has a finite time limit and scores you with bronze, silver, and gold medals. And seeing what you feel like you should be able to do, juxtaposed against what they're willing to let you do, feels insulting, like they don't trust you with those particular tools. I mean, the ads purport that you can make your own Mario level, but what they really mean is that you can set the camera into a side-scrolling mode and then throw up fireworks when you reach a flag. Yay! In fairness, you can race on your own racetracks, but only if they form a complete circuit. You can't have any Donkey Kong Jungle Course style jumps in the middle of them. Also, they seem to kind of bug out for me. But even if you can overcome those restrictions and make a level that has racing or beat 'em up mechanics but no real win state, you can't meaningfully share it. There's nothing at all like what, say, Little Big Planet has. There is a submission process, and Avalanche has promised that they'll cherry-pick the best and brightest levels to share with everybody, but that means you'll spend hours grinding to get the tools and toys you need to make a compromised, blocky, mistextured version of a simple game level that you can't actually give a win state to, and then submit that to a walled garden to have an outside chance that people will see the thing you sunk all those hours into. If this is meant to be a tool of creation and communication and expression, it is certainly one that demeans and debases its creators. Again, it's a shitcran. And speaking of debasing people, this thing is not ashamed to ask for pretty much all of your money. The whole concept is essentially to take one game's worth of content and stretch it out for literally multiple hundreds of dollars. Future characters aren't DLC that will be added to the game later, they're on disc and they have slots with icons awaiting their release in the Hall of Heroes. This game is done, and it's just awaiting a little piece of plastic and more of your money to unlock the rest of it. And by tying vault spins to character progression, and then capping progression at 15, they're effectively asking people to not just buy future characters because they like those characters, but because they represent 18 new chances to get the toy box items they want or need for their levels. Hell, this game is so crass that while you're in the middle of editing a level in toy box mode, they will spawn unlock crates for characters that haven't even been released yet, just so you can click on them and they can run an ad telling you how awesome they're going to be. Look, Steel Battalion launched itself for $200, and at least that justified itself with a massive controller that the game was designed for. Kotaku calculated that Disney Infinity would cost around $250 to buy everything for, and that's at launch, not including the upcoming Toy Story playset or 10 or so additional figures. Again, all already on the disc, already in my hands. And if you're wondering why this is different from other on-disc DLC, one character is $13.99 United States dollars. The individual playsets, $40 a pop. For content on the disc, not because they were wrapping up development and wanted to get their art asset pipeline started ahead of time, but because it is the fundamental business model the whole game operates on. Still, despite all of this, I can't bring myself to entirely hate it. It's a classist game that favors upper middle class people with tons of disposable income. The only playable minority is a white guy pretending to be a Native American guy. It's manipulative to parents and tugs on the nostalgic impulses of Disney fans, and it flip-flops between shallow play and compromised self-expression. But I can't bring myself to hate it. Because as much as my left brain knows how terrible this thing is for a million reasons, I can't stop playing it. There are points where I've built a racetrack I really like playing on. I just can't share it or decorate it for a damn. There are moments I find myself gleefully surprised to be playing a Tony Hawk knockoff in the Cars playset, but the fact that all the controls are unified for all of the games means that it's stiff and awkward instead of rewarding. There are times I'm wiring up objects, and I could see how these tools could be extraordinarily powerful if I could just access a real win state, or even just send text to a player to tell them a story, but all I can do is spawn more enemies and spawn more fireworks. There are neat ideas here, ideas that, if you could scrap the exploitative business model and refocus it on what works, show a lot of promise. I mean, the core idea, empowering people to create by exploring these beloved franchises in a new way, that's a worthy idea, and I think that deserves attention. It's this implementation of that idea, from the vault system to the too clunky and win-stateless creation system, to the vapid playsets, to the overpriced plastic collectible crap, it's all of that that gets in the way. But if they could just put more faith in their customers' creativity and less faith in their customers' bank accounts, I think it could become something much, much more.